Time now for sports on 104.7 The Cave. Here's Ned Reynolds.
Mike, the intern, Ned Reynolds, back together again on a Monday morning. Man, it couldn't have been better news to hear that the Bears are getting a bowl bid. The last two teams, it was them and Delaware to get invited?
Delaware did get invited. That is correct. So the two new teams in the Conference USA do get invitations. Now, really, in all honesty, they aren't eligible. Under the rules, they are not eligible. It is, I admit, an antiquated rule, but they are not eligible. However, we live in a society where you never say never. And they aren't eligible unless, and the unless happened for both these teams, the Bears and Delaware, and that is that there weren't enough teams that were eligible to fulfill all the bowl games. That tells you how many bowl games we have. It is a slew of them. Anyway, the Bears were invited to play. They accepted the invitation. They won't know the bowl game until next Sunday when all the bowl pairings are put out. But I'm going to guess, and this is just a prediction, that they would go to the First Responders Bowl, which is down in Dallas. Used to be played in the Cotton Bowl, but now it's played at Busch Stadium on the campus of Southern Methodist University. So I think that's where they're going to go. And that would be very good. It'd be very good. It'd be the day after Christmas, but it's a bowl game, and that's the key, and it certainly gives credibility to the Bears program, and it's congratulations. Now, you wouldn't have thought that was going to happen after Saturday's game because they didn't look really good against a pretty good Louisiana Tech team. Louisiana Tech beat them 42-30. Bears did score, but they couldn't stop La Tech from scoring on just a brutal day. It was cool, it wasn't cold, but it was certainly damp, and the wind was blowing, and it just wasn't very comfortable. But hey, didn't bother La Tech any, and they went out and won the game. Terry Bradshaw would have been very proud. But the fact of the matter remains that Bears are going to bowl, and that's the key.
You mean Terry Bradshaw would have been proud? Terry Bradshaw is proud. And are you going to make the trip? I mean, we're off the day after Christmas.
Highly, highly unlikely. but the fact of the matter remains they're going. Games are on television, of course, and we'll see them all.
Yeah.
I know the Bears have put out invitations to all the alums to make application for them. That's great. But the fact is they're going, and that's what counts.
Yeah, if you want to go, and Ned's right, and it's looking like it's probably going to be in Dallas, but if that is the case, not a bad trip, and you can go to the Missouri State website and tell them you're going to spend money in your travel intentions when that happens. Speaking of college football, my buddy came down who lives in Louisville to see family, and he went to the Arkansas MU game on Saturday. Probably a cold, dreary day for a Razorback fan to watch some football there.
And I noticed the stands did empty out rather quickly, but it started out with a pretty full house. Many of them Missouri fans going down to watch it. The fact is, was it Bobby Petrino's last game as head coach? And the answer is yes, because Arkansas has hired Ryan Silverfield as their new coach. Mr. Silverfield is 45 years old, has been at Memphis for the last 6 years, and he is probably going to be a pretty good addition. I hope they keep Bobby Petrino on the staff. That it remains to be seen because it's fully up to the new head coach to name that staff. But Petrino's a good offensive coordinator. But the bottom line is this: Arkansas has a coach, and finally, the Lane Kiffin overhype has ended. Enough already. Had it. Okay, he's going to Ole Miss. Fine, let's leave it alone. I mean, geez, come on. This is a coach. This is a football coach going to another school. Big deal. So what? And that the media,
24-hour news coverage, baby.
And we got reporters stationed right there. Who gives a?
You know what I saw just now? That was your version of practice. We're talking about practice. So, it's awesome. I think, again, the Bears had just had a hell of a season, their first year in Conference USA, but you also got to look back at the Missouri Valley Conference because they're at the end of their season, obviously, and some of the old faces are right there at the top of the mountain again, aren't they?
Mike, many of those teams in the Missouri Valley, the difference in the conferences is in the Valley you have a playoff. In the FBS, you have a bowl game.
Yep.
That is the big difference, and the numbers of scholarships that you're able to give out. Well, the Bears play in the Missouri Valley, and I have no doubt in my mind that any number of those Valley teams could play in Conference USA. North Dakota State, North Dakota, South Dakota State. Well, North Dakota State's the defending national champs, so they had a bye in the first round. 5 other Valley teams played, 5 others, and 4 of them won. The only loser, Youngstown State. And here's the caveat to the whole thing. For the first time in history, football history, the Ivy League is allowing their teams to play in postseason competition in football. They do play in basketball, but in football, never. Okay. They allowed them this year because it's a little extra revenue. 2 teams got in, Harvard and Yale, the 2 arch rivals in the Ivy League. Harvard got blasted by Villanova. Yale is behind Youngstown State from the Valley 35-7 at halftime and won the game.
Wow, they came back
43-42. That is a massive upset.
Someone made some money in Vegas that day.
Well, Yale won't last there very long because they get one of the Montana teams to play, and that'll be a whole lot different, believe me.
Yeah, but I agree with your sentiment. Any of those dogs come over to Conference USA, it's going to be some hot competition, my man. Hopefully, or at least I was praying to any god that will listen last night, that the Washington Commandos and Marcus Mariota could pull one out against the Broncos in Sunday Night Football. It goes OT, and they could not do it, man. The Broncos have just won too many close games.
And they have, and one of them was last night. And I've got to say that I do admire the guts that the Washington Commanders took on this one. They scored a tying touchdown, or at least with the extra point, it would have been a tying touchdown. But Washington chose to go for the 2-point conversion and win the game outright. And the 2-point conversion pass, was batted away by the Denver defense. 27-26, Denver got the win over the Washington Commanders. So what does that do? Well, does it mean the Chiefs have to win all their remaining games? It wouldn't hurt, but I don't think it's... I think it's unfair to say that it's utterly vital, because it isn't. You have so many things that could happen. Well, the Chiefs do have a tough one next Sunday night. They're playing under the lights at Arrowhead Stadium, Sunday night game, and it's the Houston Texans who come in. Now, the Texans are not a high-powered offensive team, but they do play very good defense, and that will be a tough one. The Chiefs do need some breaks. Will they get them? Well, we will find out. Remember now, they play the Broncos on Christmas night at Arrowhead Stadium. And who knows what's going to be the situation then. However, the way it's looking right now, Kansas City does need to win.
Oh, they needed to win 2 weeks ago. And again, got one against the Colts. It's just star-crossed season. I've been making the point on the Red Lot last couple weeks. I think a big factor in it is you look at this, these guys went to the Super Bowl in the last 6 years. Most teams, after going through that circus of a postseason in the media and all that stuff, you get no break. They're exhausted after 1 year. So I think there is a level of exhaustion into this. So, it is what it is. I'm very interesting to see what's going to happen with L.A. now that Herbert went down with that injury. He's got to have surgery today.
He will, and that does hurt the Chargers and Rams, and there's no question about that. And the Rams losing a game, that really does affect the things in the NFC. I'm going to go one step further with you with the Chiefs. I'm not so sure they're not a little long a tooth right now, too, especially on the line play. Now, these are veterans, they're professionals, and they have passed all of the protocol that goes into playing. But there is such a thing as losing half a step or quarter of a step. Chris Jones, for instance, while he's still a fearsome pass rusher, he still is not quite as quick as he has been, and I think teams are beginning to exploit that because they are younger. I think that figures into the mix. It reminds me a little bit, and it folks, don't misunderstand, it's not over yet, but it does remind me of the Chiefs of 1972, 73, 74, when they left it on the field after the Christmas Day debacle with the Miami Dolphins.
71 season.
They left it on the field. Hank Stram did not make any changes. He was a traditionalist, stayed with his team. And boy, they faltered very quickly.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Again, go Chiefs no matter what. But it's going to be interesting the last few weeks of the season regardless, and it's been, a great year either way. Always is. We now need to switch gears to talk about Bears basketball. Those guys had a busy weekend, didn't they?
Well, they played Northeastern State out of Tahlequah, Oklahoma, which is coached by a former Drury assistant coach, Jay Havens. And the Northeastern State team simply did not have the manpower to stay with Missouri State. The Bears are a D1 team. How good they are remains to be seen. I think we'll find out this week and next, because the Bears will have Tulsa to play down in Tulsa on Saturday afternoon it is. And then next Monday, I believe the Bears go to Cincinnati to play Xavier, and Xavier, very good. So we'll see. The Bears do win yesterday, 92-71 over Northeastern State, and the Lady Bears won the second game of their tournament down in Fort Myers, Florida, beating Coppin State, as expected, 77-56. So a couple of wins, and each team will now be in rather intense action as the holidays approach.
Ned, we do also have the owners meeting currently for baseball. How's that looking?
Well, it starts next Sunday in Orlando, Florida, and this is the big one. It's December the 7th through the 10th, and this is where everybody in baseball gets together. The owners, the general managers, the players are there, the players' agents are there. I believe the media might be there too a little bit. This is big because it's these meetings, this general baseball winter meeting, is where many of the big deals take place. The Cardinals have made one, sending Sonny Gray to the Boston Red Sox, but they need to make another one now with Nolan Arenado. Will he be jettisoned during these meetings? I think there's a good chance that does happen, but we'll find out. It all begins next Sunday in Orlando.
Ned, you have a wonderful Monday. Great to see you again, and I'll see you tomorrow.